Declaring that COVID-19 is no longer an emergency, this week Governor Kevin Stitt rescinded an executive order he signed in March of 2020. The governor said new cases in Oklahoma are down 94% from their peak, and hospitalizations are down 90%. And now is the time for Oklahomans to, quote, get their summers back. But will that be the case for students? On Monday, the State Department of Education released its Ready Together Oklahoma Action Plan. And the first critical component of it are multi-faceted summer learning programs tailored to individual districts.
Stacy Dykstra, the CEO for the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma.
Surrounded by fellow superintendents from around the state, leaders of educational nonprofits, and tribal leaders, State Superintendent Joy Hofmeister making the first of what she says will be several announcements addressing the challenges of fixing what was broken by COVID-19.
While we believe the worst is behind us with the pandemic, we arguably face the greatest challenge in education in modern history. That lies ahead of us. We want to focus on unfinished learning. We need to get our kids back on track academically. And we need to support our young people who have been socially and emotionally disconnected due to the pandemic, quarantining, and all kinds of unexpected turbulence and disruption this year.
To accomplish that formidable task, Hofmeister, who also chairs the OETA board, says a minimum of $14 million in federal stimulus funds will be funneled into expanded summer programs, with individual districts free to allocate 90% of the money as they see fit.
We will run a full-day program for 3 consecutive weeks that will allow working parents to drop off and pick up their students, assured they will be safe, fed, and taught by people they know and love from Sand Springs Public Schools. Our plan is to include enrichment activities involving STEM, arts, music, health, fitness, and maybe a few crafts just for the sake of enjoyment. This is a time to think outside the box.
Oklahoma's public schools were awarded $1.5 billion in the most recent federal stimulus, with districts mandated to spend at least 20% of that addressing learning loss and social and emotional needs.
The single best thing schools and community can do to help young people emerge from this crisis is to build and strengthen relationships, foster engagement with caring adults and peers, and focus on healing.
To facilitate that, the state education department is giving $6 million to the Oklahoma Alliance of Boys and Girls Clubs and the Oklahoma Alliance of YMCAs.
When you invest in the capacity of youth-serving organizations that wrap around the whole child and serve them all the hours that they're not in school, that makes a lasting impact on the child, the family, and the entire community, and this investment is really going to do that.
You'll need to go into a little bit more detail.
The goal this summer, learn back some of what was lost academically, particularly in math proficiency.
A math focus is one that some of the early indications from our benchmark assessments that our districts are using tell us that we need to have more focus there for middle and high school students. We are not recommending whole grade levels being held back. All of the nation has been going through what we've also endured.
In Oklahoma City, Superintendent Sean McDaniel is utilizing Child Protective Services to bolster the summer learning programs in his district.
OKCPS will host an invite-only, in-person summer enhancement opportunity for middle and elementary students who need additional support with English, language arts, and math.
Our focus will be relationships before rigor, grace before grades, patience before programs, and love before lessons.
Woodward Superintendent Kyle Reynolds says he's already seen progress following the resumption of ACT and SAT testing after both were canceled in 2020.
Recently, I was handed preliminary ACT data from 2 tests that we gave this year, one time in the fall and again in the spring. And we actually saw gains. We saw gains of an average of 2 points in the composite scores of our kids. It's amazing.
After arguably the most difficult year any of us have ever had or will ever had in this profession, we still have educators who are bringing their A game every single day. We have parents and other caregivers who have been resilient, who have been patient with us. We have kids who, as you've heard, they're eager not to get on Zoom necessarily anymore, but to get back into school, into the setting where safety is provided, where people care about them.
It's a holistic approach to learning that Hofmeister says will take more than a single summer to bear fruit. But she says it's an important and well-funded step in the right direction.
We have children with food insecurity. We have children that have social emotional disconnection, those that need extra intervention in mental health support, and those who have fallen behind or have unfinished learning academically. All of that is a heavy lift. We will pour our hearts and souls into this. Our families are eager for our kids to get back to normal, and so are the students of Oklahoma. We all want that, and we can see that on the horizon, and this summer begins that opportunity.
And Hofmeister adds that additional grant money for nonprofits who support out-of-school learning will be unveiled in the coming weeks prior to the start of school in the fall.